For my second pick and the fourth overall pick in the Sunday six-pack, I didn't love too many sides. It was a big teaser week for me. You took the 49ers, who I played.
Nice.
But so I'm going for my second pick. I'm going with the Los Angeles Chargers plus 2.5 at BetMGM. Again, a lot of these sides that I kind of like, they were sitting at 2.5. I made like closer to a pick. So I just teased them. If they get to 3, you can buy this at 3-2 pretty cheap. I would do that. Obviously, 3 is that important. I would buy to 3 at minus 125 or below. So wait on this. But look, the Dolphins have been, over the past 2 weeks, one of my losses last week was the Cardinals in a game that I'm just shocked that they lost. I mean, if you look at the box score, the Dolphins had 312 yards, averaged 5.6 yards per play. The Cardinals had 442 yards, averaged 6.9 yards per play. The Dolphins got a defensive touchdown. They had some beneficial calls. The week before with Tua, and by the way, the Cardinals were down to like 0 corners in that game. They were playing with like backup corners who got hurt. And yeah, it was just horrendous what their corner situation was. The week before, mentioned this last week, the Dolphins beat the Rams 28-17. They had 145 total yards. The Rams had 471. The Dolphins averaged 3 yards per play. The Rams over 5. So, I mean, these last 2 weeks have just been insane. This is luck versus unluck. This is one of the unluckiest teams in the NFL in the Chargers versus one of the luckiest in the Dolphins. I still power rate the Chargers above the Dolphins. Herbert's been great. And look, there are some things. Now, one of the things you could say, and I actually agree with, is why have the Dolphins been lucky? Well, part of it is just luck and randomness. But why have the Chargers been unlucky in losing all these close games? Part of it's coaching. Like, I really like the Dolphins staff, and I just don't really like Anthony Lynn in these late games.
It's actually D'Anthony Quinn. D'Anthony Quinn.
I mean, just some of the clock management, the play calling late last week. I mean, there's a reason that for the Chargers are like have been losing these close games for the last couple of years. But there's some other things that I do like about the Chargers in this particular matchup. Not only do I think they're a better team than the Dolphins, and home field doesn't really mean much. Bosa practiced today, which could be huge because the Miami tackles are awful. You have Austin Jackson and Robert Hunt, who are just so inexperienced. Per PFF, they rank 70th and 72nd among 75 qualified tackles this year. I mean, these defensive ends for the Chargers should be in the backfield every single passing play. Keenan Allen should absolutely eat in the slot. The Dolphins just don't have a slot corner. They've been trying multiple guys that just aren't working out. Nick Needham is there now. It's a bad situation. So Keenan Allen will probably take 40, 45 snaps in the slot this week. He should have a day. And I just think that the Chargers are a better team here. They'll probably end up losing by 1 somehow. But I make this game basically a coin flip. And so I'll take the 2.5. I personally teased it. I'm waiting to get some 3. I will buy it if it never gets there before the contest. Doesn't matter for 2.5 or 3. So it's plus 2.5 here. The Dolphins' luck. I mean, what have they done the last couple of weeks? It's just been defensive touchdowns. It's not sustainable. And this is a horrible run defense. It's a terrible, terrible offensive line on the outside with their tackles, which is not what you want against the Chargers. So give me the Chargers as my second pick.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are actually pretty good. Like, I don't think the Dolphins are a terrible team. They're always going to be in it. I think because of Brian. Let me say again. They're always going to be in games because of Brian Flores. He's just doing a really kind of remarkable job considering, like, this team is still in rebuild mode, but they're actually able to compete with anybody really at this point. So, yeah, I think they're good. But the Chargers, it's just been absurd, like how they've played extremely well as well. They've been in games against the Saints, the Bucks. I mean, they could have beaten pretty much the who's who, the Chiefs. They could have beaten the who's who of NFL powerhouses more or less in these last.
It could be 6-2 with like huge wins, and everyone would be like, "Wow, this team is unbelievable. So the perception difference here is huge. Also, you have to keep in mind that I still have to downgrade to it. Like, he did nothing against the Rams, and last week against a decimated Cardinals defense that had no secondary left. Yeah, he looked pretty good. But now he won't have Preston Williams, who he looked like comfortable with, who was just put on IR. That'll hurt their receiving core. So, they're just the Chargers easily. They could be easily 6-2 if they don't. So maybe they're due to get one of these games to break right late.
Yeah,
wait. Let me say one thing. But keep your eye on Bosa. He will be big, and then Bulaga and Turner, their right guard and right tackle, which will be big because the Chargers' offensive line obviously isn't great. They both practice on a limited basis today, so they also could be back. That'll only help.
Yeah, if the Chargers keep losing, if they don't cover this bet, I could bet you almost anything that it'll come down to Anthony Wynn, because the Chargers did the one thing that, like, everybody, like, that knows offensive play calling and kind of knows the success rates of these plays frowns upon. 2 goal line fades at the end of the game. And to who? Donald Parham and I think Mike Williams got one, but they were just trying to pick on Isaiah Johnson, and they outsmarted themselves because they're 2 of the most inefficient plays. So, like, the Chargers have everything it takes to win. Their defense has been a little shaky. I don't know what's up with that. I mean, I thought they would be better getting some pieces back. Obviously, Bosa, being in and out of the lineup hurts, but the Chargers, I mean, they should be an NFL powerhouse already. Justin Herbert should be, like, just cruising through this, like, amazing rookie year where he's leading his team to the playoffs. Instead, they're probably picking near the top of the draft again at this rate. So very perplexing team. But yeah, I think this is kind of getting like a Cowboys situation almost. It's like you got to bet on the Chargers so they cover, because, like, they should have covered in the last, like, 5 weeks and didn't. So just a ridiculous kind of situation. Or they covered once against Jacksonville, but ridiculous kind of situation. So yeah,